Hey everyone, I'm Fred.
And I'm Ed.
And today we're going to be talking about the new Orangatang Caguama and comparing it to the Kegel wheels.
Caguama.
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 So today we'll be talking about this wheel in regards to eBoards, in particular the evolve skateboards.
That's right, we've done a bunch of tests, including CARVE test, the roll test, and even just checked out how they slide.
So we come to this from two different perspectives. I typically use these boards for cruising and commuting.
Whereas I love to hit the na-na and shred and carve.
So first, a little background about this wheel. It is an 85mm size and uses the famous Happy Thane formula. It comes in two durometers. The orange is an 80A, which is a softer formula compared to the 83A of the purple, which is a little bit harder. It has a 56mm contact patch, which gives it good traction with the road, and the steep valley, which gives it some nice cushioning. The exposed core also helps reduce the overall weight of the wheel.
Alright, so how are these different to the Kegels?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So there are a couple of reasons why this is different to the Kegel, and those differences are why it is particularly good for e-boarding. So the first difference is the size. The Caguama is 85mm compared to the Kegel's 80mm. Basically what that means is there's more urethane and that absorbs more of those little bumps you ride over on the ground. The bigger size should also mean that it has a slightly faster top speed, but it may be reduced in acceleration, but just a little bit. So the other big difference is the Caguama has a tapered edge compared to the Kegel, which has a very sharp edge. Now a sharp edge is great for grip and really helps with that cornering, but when you're riding on bumpy, uneven surfaces, those sharp edges can catch. So the nice tapered edge does ensure you can glide over them with a bit more ease. The other difference is this pattern on the face of it. I don't think it has any practical application, but it does look pretty good. I think Caguama means turtle, so this could be designed to look like a turtle shell.
I don't know, man, but it looks pretty sick.
We did a couple of practical tests with the Caguamas and the Kegels. Now we used the Evolve Carbon GT and we used the same board for both tests in order to keep it as close as possible.
Alright, the first thing we did was a conversion test. So we took the board from an all-terrain configuration, took those wheels off, put new bearings into the Caguamas, changed the belt, the gears, and the motor covers, all up about 10 minutes, super simple. Evolve have got gears that are custom for these wheels, so it makes it a breeze.
So the next test we did was a sprint test to see if there was any difference. Now the Kegels were slightly faster, over 50 meters, but there was hardly anything in it.
Yeah, just nothing. Alright, so the next test was the roll test. Really simple, get the board up to 20 kilometers an hour, let the trigger go and see which one rolls the furthest. It was a little surprising that the Caguama outperformed the Kegels by a fair bit.
Yeah, the amount was quite surprising. It was about 10 meters on average. We thought we made a mistake the first time, so we did a couple more times and it still came to about the same. So yeah, but look, it is a bigger wheel and it does go over those cracks and bumps quite easily. So there you go.
Next up was a carve test. So both the Caguamas and the Kegels carve like a dream. They really grip on, they inspire confidence, and when you really hook into those corners, they just keep holding. The sharp edge on the Kegels, however, just gives you that little bit more grip. So when you really rip into the carve, they hang on a bit tighter than the Caguamas.
When it came to comfort, I was really surprised. I didn't think 5mm would make that much of a difference, but it did. Now, I typically use these boards for commuting, and I think the Caguama is going to be a great wheel for that. I also did a test where I went back and forth over a bumpier to smoother surface, and noticed that the Caguama did it with quite a lot of ease compared to the harder edged Kegels. So the last test we didn't do, but the guys at eVolve had to do, was the slide test, because we can't slide the boards, but we know that some of you out there really like doing that, so we gave that a go too. So when it came to sliding, they were both pretty similar. The rounded edges of the Caguama did obviously make it a little bit easier to slide, and if you are going to slide a lot, the harder urethane of the purples will make it even easier. So in summary, these wheels do have a couple of similarities. They have the same urethane and the same size contact patch, but the Caguamas do have that tapered edge and are a bigger wheel, which makes them particularly good for e-boarding. So when it came to the test, there were a couple of differences, but the big one for me was the comfort level of the Caguama. It's a really comfortable wheel, and it goes from rough to smooth surfaces over those little bumps and imperfections with a lot of ease.
So if I had to choose between one of these, I would go with the Caguama. Both of the Kegel and the Caguama carve like a dream, and the Kegels actually hold on just a little bit harder in those really tight carves, but the bigger size of the Caguama just smooths out some of those little imperfections and bumps that the Kegels don't. So Caguama's got my vote.
So before this review, I really didn't think I was going to care that much about these wheels, because I typically ride the all-terrain wheels for comfort, but these wheels really changed my mind. I really enjoyed the feel, it was super fun to ride on, and I'm definitely getting a set for my board.
Fred's ready for the Nana.
I'm ready.
Yo!